during that time, everybody had lost a little bit of life. It wasn't as vibrant, you know. At this time, I don't know my purpose. At this time, I don't know what God's gonna do. I'm thinking everything is over with. So I walk in with my bags and I pass them and I drop to my knees, man, and I just cry out, scream like a baby. To the top of my lungs. And I'm pretty sure everybody in the neighboring apartments could hear me because I was that loud, you know what I'm saying? It just hurt, felt like a failure, and I'm getting emotional, thinking about it, but that feel like I dropped the ball, that my family was dependent on me, and that's all I wanted to do since I was 8 years old, when I first put on the helmet. And for me to get there and to be ripped away, and now I'm in a place of brokenness, and I got all these broken pieces. And I can't really say I wanted to go to God because I was angry with him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why you keep doing me like this? You know what I'm saying? Well, I was taking it personal. I felt like it was some type of punishment or a curse or something. I just couldn't understand why I had to endure this type of pain. So that's what it was like.
Welcome to another edition of Be Great Podcast, where we always interviewing and talking to some phenomenal people. And today I have a special guest, someone who has really done some major things and really impacting the lives of others. So today I want to introduce my guy Roderick. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you here, man. If you wouldn't mind, just take a few seconds to tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So like you said, my name is Roderick Byers. From here, Rock Hill, South Carolina. Grew up, born and raised, and I always had the dream of playing football, so that's what I set my mind towards, and I was very successful in that. Went on to Northwestern, went first undefeated team in school history, won a state championship there, ended up choosing Clemson over Oregon, signed a full scholarship to play football, and then I made it to the league too. And so after, football, I found my purpose in serving others and helping kids and giving back. So that's really what I enjoy doing. Now, I can go in depth, but I just kept it.
Okay. Well, hey, that's a good introduction, man. Yeah, we're going to tap into a little bit about your journey, but at least to give the people a little backstory, a little bit about yourself, man. So you say you're originally from here in Rock Hill?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am. All my family is from here, so.
Okay. Well, man, it's a pleasure, man. Like I say, I look forward to hearing a little bit about your journey. So football was I know Rock Hill is known as Football City, USA, right?
Yeah, right.
And so we have produced so many great athletes that have gone on to play in the league and really put a great stake in the quality of what Rock Hill is about. But with that, let me ask you, what was your interest? How did you come about wanting to be involved in playing football?
It was the Friday night lights, man. The town back then, Rock Hill High versus Northwestern. I mean, every meeting was epic. The games would be like 0-3, 7-6. It wasn't high scoring, but everybody in the city would be there. And so growing up as that little kid, running up and down on the hill and watching everybody be excited, tickets sold out by Wednesday. That was something that I always wanted to be a part of. I would hear my uncles talk about the best players from the city, and I wanted my name to be a part of that. So that's really what got me excited, and I always wanted to play for Northwestern, and I did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, I know them bad hats went with here, but I know you left I bet you left your message on the game and footprints on the game. But if you can, what position did you play, and how did you affect the game?
So I played defensive line basically my whole life. I've always been a defensive lineman. I did play a little bit of fullback and tight end in middle school, which was also fun. But since I was always a bigger kid, I was 5'2" by the second grade.
Wow.
6 foot by the 5th grade. So, I always known that I was going to go, you know what I'm saying? Because I had the size. I don't think I was always very good, but it ended up catching up. And I ended up, I would say, being one of the best because I did go on to, the next level. So, that's something that I'm pretty proud of.
Okay. So you say y'all won state champion the years you was at Northwestern as well?
Won. I played in 3.
Okay.
Yeah, we lost 2, won 1, and then my freshman year we lost to Marcus Lattimore and the Burns Rebels. Where they were loaded, they had tons of D1 talent, and that was kind of my first real taste of what D1 players look like outside of our city. and then that's when I saw it. So I had something to go after, and that's what motivated me. But we ended up losing that game in Upper State. But yeah, I mean, my whole high school career I won, so I don't really know what it's like to not make the playoffs or go deep in the playoffs or not win. Then when I went to Clemson, we won. So I've always been a part of winning teams.
Wow. And so knowing that's your how you really was late in the game, was winning was your option. It was the only option, right?
I mean,
had to give you best, yeah.
I mean, I would say that, but then also I can say like it was a lot of tough losses too. Like losing to South Point in high school, that hurt pretty bad as a sophomore. Losing to Bruce Ellington in Berkeley my junior year, where we were up winning in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
And even at Clemson, like my first year there, we lost to West Virginia like 70 to something. They scored 70 points on us. So that goes into really life for me. Like I was never the first pick chosen or never the guy that everybody expected to be the one. It was my series of losses that ultimately helped me win, and I'm grateful for each and every one of them. And so just that little bit of what high school was like and how ultimately, we had an undefeated season, and we ran through everybody my senior year. But it was those losses that prepared us for that. And so now where I sit, and the things that I've been able to do, I can honestly say that it was the losses that prepared me.
Yeah, you led me right into where I was going to go with that, because a lot of times we don't appreciate the losses until we have had later successes. And so with that, when I coached when my son was playing, I think sometimes having a loss, it surreals that you can be beaten. It makes you tighten up and not take the opportunities for granted.
Right.
And so let's talk a little bit about that, because like I said, it has now sharpened you to appreciate some things. So what have some of the losses, I guess, if you can put it in examples or situations that you may have been in where you had a loss, whether it be on the field or in life, that now has helped you in other ways?
I mean, first off, most of my losses have been public. Like, I was very bold in saying I was going to go to the NFL. I've always been bold in saying this is what God showed me, this is what I believe. There were moments in college where I didn't even play. I didn't play for most of my career for all kinds of different crazy reasons, but it wasn't my ability. It was just even my teammates in college would be like, we don't understand, like, why you got to go through this or why you enduring this. And I couldn't understand it in the moment either. But, like I said, all of those losses propelled me. But just for an example, when I lost football, it was very public. It was, by the time the city found out that I signed with the Panthers, I was already back home. So I was already sitting on my couch having to read all of the messages of people saying, we're going to be with you. We knew you were going to make it. We coming to see you. If you need anything, I got you. Not knowing it's already over for me. And so that was the most humiliating loss, but it was also fulfilling, because when I lost football, it allowed me to find, or allowed what was for me to find me. And so I'm grateful, because I had to feel everything. I felt the disappointment. I felt the embarrassment. I felt the shame. I felt the guilt. I felt every emotion that you can think of. And that's why I sit here now and I can say that God is faithful. Because I think probably the most frustrating feelings that I had was that everything was going to work out. And I say I was frustrated that I felt that way, because I'm like, but I'm tired of having to go through. I'm tired of having to lose to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of always having to be the one that has to go through something. But now in my older age, because that was 2016, so that was 8 years ago. 8 years ago today, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, that was 8 years ago today. I want to say, man, yeah, that was 8 years ago today, actually. And so 8 years from that, I'm grateful for every part of it.
So let's unpack what's going on, especially you would like to share. So knowing that you now have been signed to the Panthers and looking forward to change the lives of you and your family, I know that's a unsurreal moment. Yeah. And how did that come about? What went on through that situation?
So the Panthers saw me at my pro day at Clemson, and they were intrigued. you know, by my ability, by my size and everything. And, you know, when I went to rookie camp, they really loved me. They couldn't believe that, you know, I was a rookie. They couldn't believe that I hadn't played at Clemson. They couldn't believe that it wasn't because of a character issue. Like, they literally said, like, hey, you belong in this league. And, you know, we're gonna bring you in. Like, because at the time they were full at my position. And they also shared with me, which they normally don't share the political side of it, but they said, you know, we just drafted a first-round D tackle. So we sign an extra guy that'll be 10 on our roster at D tackle, which means that it'll communicate to the public that we made a mistake on our draft pick. So we trying to find security or insurance, or we trying to find extra people because we don't believe in the guy that we drafted, so we can't do that. So what they ended up doing was waiting until somebody got hurt. I got impatient during that same time, so the same time that a guy got hurt, I was on my way to Canada. Because I was like, I'm just going to go to Canada. I'm not waiting. Nothing is happening. I'm gone. So when I went up there, the workout got canceled. I was on 2 small flights up, and then the Panthers called while I was there. And so then, long story short, they said, we're going to fly you from Canada because we don't want you to sign with them. We want to sign you. You don't have to try out. You already showed us. We know what you are. The coaches are beating the table for you. So they flew me from Canada to Spartanburg. But when I went to the airport, the Delta systems were down, so they were having to do flights by hand. I was supposed to land in Spartanburg at 10 a.m. I didn't get there at 7 p.m. So my body was tired. I was drained. But here I was excited because I'm getting ready to sign with my hometown team. I go through it, pass my physical, sign my contract. It was for like $1.7 million, I think, 3 years. And then, you know, the Coach Rivera was the coach at the time, and he told me, he said, hey, you get ready to play a bunch of snaps. That was Tuesday. I was going to play on Thursday. It's like, you get ready to play a lot of snaps. I hope you're ready. Hope you're in shape. We're excited about you. We feel like we got something with you. So here's your moment. And so, you know, as any 22-year-old would be, you know, I was excited. I was like, man, I'm right down the street. I've never played this many snaps in a game at Clemson. You know, I'm really about to show what I can do. So it was like, yeah, like, this is my moment. I'm ready. I'm so excited. I've been working for this. I've been believing for this. You know, God, you're faithful. And all of that, man. And, you know, obviously I had the nerves too. I'm like, man, this really happened. Like, I'm really in the league. Like, and I go through a walkthrough and get down in my stance and just pop up and a pain shoot down my body. And at this time, I had never felt the sciatic nerve. I know it hurt, but I didn't understand. You know, I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll just take some ibuprofen. I'll be good. So I went through my meetings because camp is like, you got stuff. So once I signed, I went straight into camp. Like, it wasn't no time to take a rest. I had to be at the airport in Canada at 5 a.m. So I was up by 3 a.m. So that was a long day, 4 planes in 2 days. The emotions, the weight of, you know, being in the league, the pressure, being at home, hometown team. I was carrying all that stuff and the excitement. You know what I'm saying? So wake up the next day and I can't walk. Yeah, like, it was a non-contact injury for my favorite team in the place that I wanted to be, that I believed for, that we all hoped for, that God said was going to happen. And every church I went to prophesied this, that this was going to take place. And here I am, where we just have a light practice, then we're going to fly out to Baltimore. I'm playing the next day. Like, in my first game, I saw my jersey. They had my jersey stitched up, my name on the back, my cleats, all this stuff was ready, packed up. I saw it in the bag, and I never got to put it on. And it was a non-contact. So I'm in the meeting, and, you know, I'm knowing what's getting ready to happen, and man, they drive me back up 85, and that was the longest, shortest, most, I mean, man, I still can't really, you know what I'm saying, put that into words of what that was like, because I left that door, and I just kept seeing the front door of the apartment that we lived in. I left that door as hopeful, you know, that I'm getting ready to change my family and I'm back in 3 days. You know, I went to Canada, came to Spartanburg, and now I'm back home. And I left as an aspiring NFL player, and I came home as a former. but never really getting to put on the jersey, never getting to show what I could do, never getting an opportunity to do anything. And so, you know, I went through a lot in my life. I went through a lot at Clemson. I went through a lot of humiliation, embarrassment, and, you know, I was bold and I stood firm on this is going to happen. But no preacher, no person, nobody had told me that this prophecy was going to happen, but it was going to be for 2 days.
Wow.
That's not what I saw. You know what I'm saying? I saw league, money, status, this, that, and I didn't get any of that. All I got was the name associated with it, but I got more pain than I got celebration or happiness or any of those other things. It hurt me more than it did anything else.
Wow.
And so, you know, even now when people talk about it, you know, they don't know what my mind goes to. You know what I'm saying? And when I got out the car with my bags, went to the door, I was afraid to go to that door, man, because walked through the door and I saw my mom, my sister to the left, and their eyes was bloodshot red because they had been crying tears. I called them and I could hear them crying. I could hear, you know, everybody just like, you know, the disappointment. I called my dad and told him that the disappointment. Just everybody was deflated, man. I mean, it's seeing my family, you know, hopeful for years, believing for years, pressing for years, and during that time, everybody had lost a little bit of life. For sure, it was a little, it wasn't as vibrant, you know. And, you know, at this time, I don't know my purpose. At this time, I don't know what God's gonna do. I'm thinking everything is over with. So, you know, I walk in with my bags and I pass them and I drop to my knees, man, and I just cry out, scream like a baby, you know, to the top of my lungs. And I'm pretty sure everybody in the neighboring apartments could hear me because I was that loud, you know what I'm saying? It was just hurt, felt like a failure, you know. Man, I'm getting emotional, you know, thinking about it, but that to feel like I dropped the ball, that my family was dependent on me, and that's all I wanted to do since I was 8 years old when I first put on the helmet. And for me to get there and it be ripped away, and now I'm in a place of brokenness, and I got all these broken pieces, and I can't really say I wanted to go to God because I was angry with him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why you keep doing me like this? You know what I'm saying? Why? I was taking it personal. I felt like it was some type of punishment or a curse or something. Like I just couldn't understand why I had to endure this type of pain. And so that's what it was like. Yeah.
Wow.
It was rough.
Man. It was rough. I always say our misery can later on become our ministry. And sometimes in life, the deeper the cut, the greater the reward on the back end. And I know you're still in the middle of what God is doing. And sometimes it can't be explained. We have to be lived through. And on the back end, we'll be able to see. But I do kind of want to back up because we've talked a little bit about your story. I've heard a little bit about your story prior, so I know you've had some other areas that helped where you are now. And so I kind of want to back up a little bit because, like I said, you said you had some times, even through your times at Clemson, and even in times off the field or whatever, you may have had some challenges or some things that may come up. Kind of talk a little bit about those areas because I want to unpack it on the back end on how it all plays a factor now in where you are now. And so if we can, let's just kind of during your time, I guess even at Clemson, what was it that you feel that, hey, you say you don't know really why you did not play as often, but then again, what was some of the things that even though you didn't get to play on the field or whatever, what was it that still stood you out to where you made an impact there during those times?
Yeah, so I did play. I want to say that I didn't play. I didn't play like I deserved to, you know. But I was always a leader. I was always the guy. I led chapel. I would pray for the team. I'm the one that told Sweeney that, you know, God gave me a vision that we were going to win a national championship. I told the guys that year that we went to the national championship that we were going to the national championship before we even went there. I said, this is the year where we're going to accomplish all our goals. And those things happen. So those guys knew me as a leader. They knew me as a believer. Taj Boyd would even say, like, man, bro, if I was you, I probably would have left by now. Like, you give me strength every day. Because you come over here and you give me a great look and you working, even though it's not paying off or even though it's not paying off in the way we think it should, but you keep showing up, so you're giving me strength. Like, he would tell me things like that. A lot of the guys would. I was the team barber, so guys would come in and sit down and talk, and I would encourage them and talk them through it. A lot of guys who ended up being first-round picks, I was the guy they came to for counseling. They wanted to give up, I would encourage them. So it's funny because what I'm doing now I was already doing. So those guys and the people there see me doing what I'm doing now. It's like, we always saw this in you. Like, you were always bigger than football. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that had always been a part of me, you know, and that's who I was, even in not getting what I wanted, even things not going the way I wanted it to. Yeah, so that's who I was at Clemson. Always a hard worker, always the guy, you know, faith, believing, all that. Yeah.
That opens up a door. I want to kind of take it down to just because something you said to me the other week was a lot of guys who you know who some of the ones who made it to the league are some of the ones who are the most crushed.
Yeah.
And they're going through a lot of mental stuff. So mental health is real. I know even from Councilman Perry, he really has a great stance because he's seen a lot of individuals who are in the space of sports who are dealing with mental issues. So I want you to kind of share, even from your standpoint, what that looks like and just some ways that you kind of led you into this space where you kind of currently working in a lot more.
So first of all, I would say, you know, at my time, you know, as being a collegiate athlete, and it's even more things now that come at them with the NIL and the money and things like that. Like next year, every guy on a roster will make at least $100,000 from the school. That's not even NIL money. That's $100,000 per year. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot that comes with that, especially as young men. When you haven't matured yet, there's a lot. And so when you think about collegiate sports or sports on that level, you got the pressure from your family, especially if you come from, you know, where I come from, certain socioeconomic status. You have the schoolwork. Clemson isn't an easy school, you know. It's not bottom of the barrel. It was a top 20 public university when I attended. You have the social pressures. From your peers, from all of that. So you just think about it. Like, I remember having or hearing about childhood friends who were murdered, who got shot, who got killed. I didn't get to miss practice. I didn't get to, you know, I didn't have anybody I could call to go talk to or, you know, a counselor or anything, because the counselors who were there didn't look like me. So we didn't go to those counselors. We didn't talk to anybody. So you're 18 years old and you're dealing with all this pressure. You get there and you're no longer the top guy, which is cool. I didn't care about that. But it was a struggle. You know, I'm outside of my comfort zone physically. Then, you know, you have something like that, a tragedy happens or anything like that. You got that going on, and there's really nobody to talk to. You got classes all day. So from class, we probably have workouts at 5 o'clock in the morning, from 5 to 7. You got to check in at breakfast by 7:30. You got a class by 8. From 8, you got another thing probably about 10. You got tutoring. You got study hall. You got to get 10 hours a week of study hall. You might not get home until maybe 10 o'clock that night. You know what I'm saying? So it's just constant going, just a lot of stuff, a lot of pressure. And so where's the outlet? Where is the space where I can call? And then if you have a bad practice, it's already on the news outlet. Everybody knows. Your family knows before you. They calling, what's going on? I see you ain't so-and-so and so-and-so. You know what I'm saying? If you in a relationship, you got your relationship issues going on. Who texts you? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, that's a lot of pressure, a lot of weight on an 18-year-old, 17, 19, 20, 21. Like, it's you young, you know what I'm saying? And so a lot of that stuff is just balled up, and football becomes people's outlet. You know, that was the only way. And so a lot of these guys, when they go to the league or they get out of the league, when they no longer have football, it's like all of it comes crashing down because the money, the status gives you a pass. People will accept your attitude. They'll accept certain things about you, where they won't tell you about yourself because they want to be around you and they want the perks that come with your jersey. So, you know, when it's ripped away, it's like, okay, well, now I got to really deal with life. I got to come to reality, and there's no red shirt in real life. There's no assistants. They tell you where to go. They send you texts. They tell you literally everything. They got what's gonna be on your test. You got tutors in every subject. So everybody is basically handicapping you. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, yeah, I got a degree, but I don't have skills. I don't know how to utilize this, and that can be a lot mentally. Because even when I was at this age and I wanted to escape all of the pressure, the stuff that was on at Clemson, I would come home and that's all people would talk about. Like, man, I ain't see you. Man, I watched the game, I ain't see you out there. Yeah, I'm not playing. You know what I mean? But it was never any encouragement. You got to hear about what Clowney was doing because, you know, he was balling as a freshman, and that's all people wanted to talk about. But nobody ever asked me how was I doing. Now, one time that I came home, I can't remember one time anybody asked me, like, how are you? Like, are you okay? It was always football. It was always, are you going to play this year? Are you getting stronger? Are you getting faster? And so while the athlete in me was what everybody saw, but the human in me was slowly dying. And I say dying because I died by, not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and any other every way you can think of while I had that jersey on, and nobody could see that.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, man, what was it? I did want to go a different direction, but since you said that, what was it that kind of helped you to bounce back or to overcome?
Honestly, man, it was just God's unchanging hand where he just didn't give up on me. I tried to give up on myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely tried.
Yeah.
I tried several times, and actually, I was actually getting ready to be a starter at Clemson. Don't nobody even know that. And I had an issue, something that I remember from my childhood that was really bothering me. And I went to the coaches. I won't say which coaches or nothing like that. Went to the coaches, told them about it. And long story short, without getting into too many details, I didn't get the help that I needed. Came home, didn't get the help that I needed. And then when I got back, they basically said, because you went home, you're not going to play. So the reason why I didn't play was because I had an issue, a trauma, some trauma that I wanted to get help with. And so I left for a summer semester to come home to try to just didn't know how to navigate it, and really nobody here really knew how to navigate it. And so that was the reason why. So by me ultimately not getting to play and not getting to start because I was seeking for help is why I go so hard in helping kids now.
Okay, man, that's what's up. Now, I know you was mentioning to me about the system is not designed to help you to outside of the sport of football. Now, you told me about that. I'm like, wow, I didn't never think about it like that. But by you being inside, you actually were able to see and now be identify what that looks like. So if you don't mind, just kind of share from, you know, what you shared with me about how the system is set up. Yeah. But then also, what is it that you think that people could position themselves to position themselves to be different if they so choose?
So, I mean, we know 1% or less than 1% go on to the NFL.
Yes.
Even less percent of that of college students or college athletes actually play or reach to 3 to 4 years in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? To receive a pension or and it goes on and on. As you know, as you go up, those numbers go down. So essentially we're saying, let's just go with simple math, that 99 or over 99% of our collegiate athletes do not go on to play professionally. Okay, so during the time of having a college football career or college athletic career, how many internships do we get to have? What work experience can we have? Because if you can study, or if you even remember it, the NCAA has always said you cannot work as a collegiate athlete. You can't receive this, you can't receive that. Now I know it may be some changes here lately, but before this NIL, before just recently in the last few years, you couldn't work. So here you are, you're graduating and you don't have work experience. What does every employer want to see? Work experience. So now you have a degree, you don't have real skills. They ask you questions about like, how can you help this company, and you answering football style questions, or you answering your leadership, or I've been on the team and I led. That's not what they want to hear. They trying to make money, like, and there's no switch. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of guys that come from certain environments go into college in survival mode, meaning that you only focus on your immediate threats. So I'm only focusing on my mama need this, people need this, okay, I gotta make this grade in order to do this. So it's like I'm just here, but I'm not thinking big picture. I'm not preparing myself for the future. I'm not networking. I don't understand how to network. I'm doing what it is that I need to do to get to the next part, to check off the box, so that I can get where I really want to get to. Yeah. And that's most of it. Everybody think they're going to the league. And so there are systemic barriers, because if you have this barrier that says that we can't work, but then 99% of us aren't going to go professionally, and over 90% of these athletes look like us, you and I, so what do we go back to? A degree without a network will help who? You know what I'm saying? It won't help me. My dad isn't the CEO. My uncle isn't the CEO. We don't know anybody that can just bring me on with just a piece of paper. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of guys, and that's why you see, like, and it's no disrespect to coaching, I think a lot of guys, former athletes, provide a lot of great value as coaching, but I also see the other side where they feel like they don't have anything else. They go right back to sports because it's what they're comfortable with, it's what they're familiar with. It's a space that they feel like they have skills at, but they're, you know what I'm saying, not able to. Now you have some who do, but they're more so the anomaly, you know what I'm saying? But the majority of them just are not equipped with the right skills. And even if you ask a random athlete now, if you know any college athletes, when you see them over the summer, ask them, like, what you gonna do with your degree? And see what the answer they tell you. They might say, oh, I'm gonna start a business. I'm gonna start a business with your degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, they don't have a clue, man. And it's really sad and it's sickening. And I think it's still being covered up in the money and the NIL, but these kids aren't being equipped with real skills. Yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like being a puppet.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's just like that. Mm-hmm. It's just like that. Yeah. And almost like tokenism in a sense. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you this, but still keep you from this.
Yeah.
Because anything that's labeled as free in this country, historically, we have paid a price for. It hasn't been free. The education was not free. I paid with my body. I paid with beating up my mind, my head, the trauma from that. My elbow doesn't extend, but not just that. But I almost lost my job several times. I didn't get an entry-level job when I first got hired on. I was expected to know to respond to an email within 24 hours and, you know, things like, I didn't know that stuff. So I literally had no clue, man. And I was just not prepared. Mm-hmm. Not prepared.
Wow. Well, that leads me into one next piece now. Now that you have graduated and doing some other things that touch the lives of our youth and young adults, what does that look like? What do you got going on?
So that looks a few different ways. There's speaking engagements, there's curriculum development, program development, workshop facilitation, just all kinds of things, man. I wanted to take it beyond just saying, hey, you can be anything you want to be. Because I understand that there are barriers to that. I understand that there are clouds of doubt. You know what I'm saying? I understand that there's generational trauma that's been passed. I understand all of these things, so I'm not just going to tell you, but I'm going to assist you, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to hold your hand and help you and then empower you to be able to do the things that you really desire to do.
Awesome. So what kind of led you say, man, this is where I want to go with this? What was a light bulb that kind of say, this is the arena for me? How did you come about?
So when I first finished playing, the first gig that I had was at Northwestern High School as a long-term substitute. They threw me in a class with a bunch of kids that they wrote off that were not going to get their diploma, they were going to get a certificate. That they had been in some trouble, and they basically I always described them as bad trouble kids. And so I went in there because I was broken myself. I went in there, wounded from the league. Just came home, trying to find my way. And I really bonded with those kids, and I thought I was going in there to help them, and they ended up helping me. And it's funny because it was a certain situation that occurred, and from how maybe they might have wanted me to handle it, it would have been me, using my authority as a teacher and saying, you can't do that because I said so, or whatever the case. But what I realized was, man, this kid is acting out, but we have the same need. Like, it's because he's hurting, and I am too. And as a teacher, I thought that my role during that time, or what I had saw before, was for me to act like I had it together. But instead I said, I feel you. Like, I understand. And I even shared with him, I know I'm supposed to respond in a different way, but I actually feel the exact same way that you do. So how about we work through it together? And let's figure it out, help one another. And from there, the response that I got and just how empowered we both felt, I said, yeah, it's another level. There's more to this. It's deeper. Because I had the idea that every kid had the same parenting that I did, the same opportunities and resources, and that wasn't the case. So I subbed for a few years and couldn't get anything else, but that's where I needed to be. I understood the language of the kids. I saw the systemic issues. I saw, certain problems and things that needed to be updated. And so I use all of those things now when I create. And so it ended up helping me out, man. But that's how I found out that was a space that I needed to be.
Wow. Like I said, man, God is so good to kind of put you in a situation where we, like you said, think I'm going to help someone else, and they helped me on the back end. So I think about times when I went and served and went to the prisons, and people, I think, okay, we're going to help them, and turn around like, man, what do I got to complain about, man? What I'm saying? It blessed me so much more by seeing, man, this person is still hopeful, still have faith, and they still going through what they got to go through, but they still persisting on. So I can definitely understand where you're speaking from. So that moved you into say, okay, this is something I want to go a step further. So what was the steps? Because I want to inspire somebody else who may have a desire to want to do something else. They may want to do in the same lane that you're in. Yeah. But what were some of the steps that got you started?
I had to do the work first. I had to work within myself. I had to allow God to heal those pieces of me, because in anything I share is from bumping my head first, or anything that I give is from me experiencing it first. And so I had to be willing to do that, to die to my flesh, to remove my pride and say that I need to work on me, and that's what I prioritize. And so that's why it's easy to give it down to the kids, and because I see myself in them, and that's why I make sure I let them know that, like, hey, I know you think I'm this and you see me as that, but no, I had to do this as well. And so let me just share with you what it did for me, and then when they hear that, then it's always receptive. Yeah.
Receiving it, man. So similarly, so where you at? You are speaking to primarily students, or who's your audience of people?
Man, it's been everybody, man. Like, I remember meeting with principals and thinking that, say I want to serve your students, and they say you need to talk to my teachers. And so it's been the teachers, it's been admin, it's been students, it's been athletes, because I have so many experiences, it's so many people that I can reach, man, and I'm blessed for that. I've done workshops with just adults. I've taken adults and had them color and do children activities, and to get to that childhood space, to be able to go to those spaces that have been closed off or compartmentalized, you know what I'm saying? So being able to work in these spaces has been amazing, man. I've worked with men and took a children's book. We have a program that we're going to do with the inmates in Mecklenburg County, where I take a kid's book with these men, you know what I'm saying, and work through programming and things like that. So I kind of just always start with, you know, what is it that I would have needed in this space? Or, you know, just being sensitive in my spirit to what I see and what's going on, and then just trusting my ideas. Like, I trust what I get, and I just make it happen, and I just go for it. I know a lot of times we share our ideas too soon, and we share our plans too soon, and before we got so much feedback from other people that it ain't even the original plan no more. We done made it something else, and so I stick to my stuff. That's what I do. I stick to it. Before I create it, I say, I'm doing this program, or I already got this program in this school before I ever even had the program finished. And then it ends up happening that way. So that's one of the things that I've done that has made me successful. I say, I got this, you know, if I'm talking to somebody, I don't say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I say, I already got this deal with so-and-so school, this is what I'm doing, before I even have it finished. And I end up getting that deal with so-and-so school, and I end up doing it. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what do you see yourself now moving towards, if you could say, what's, I guess, within the next year or so? What do you see yourself? Cause like, so right now you're serving the Rock Hill, Charlotte, Mecklenburg area. What do you see yourself, I guess, if you're saying impacting, whether if creating a curriculum where you're now seeing this outline do what? So what does that look like for you in the next year or so?
So it's all a bigger plan. This is, you know, I had an app vision. I started with a vision of an app, but even some more than that, movies and things like that. But I understand that I have to build a foundation first. And so right now I'm only on first base. Speaking, workshops, schools in this area, that's just first base. That ain't even fully first base, because it's just so much more that builds. And so while I'm building it, I'm building my community. And so then once I begin to, you know, reach new levels and I need investors, I'm like, hey, this is my, you know, this is the data that I have. This is the information that I have. This has been effective in these areas. This has been effective with these groups. And so I'm just going to continue to build it, because the next step is to get the curriculum to be digital. That way that I don't have to be there for them to get it. You know, you can put me on the screen and I can read the book. You can put me on the screen and have my presence there, talking about these different life things in the book and life things in the program and stuff like that. So it's just going to continue to evolve, but eventually then I'll do trio programs, being able to get kids, underserved children, into colleges, and, you know, visiting college campuses and things like that. And then I think it's about time for me to leave the area though. So I'll probably be here for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to expand, spread my wings, and go into some other avenues.
That's awesome, man. Like I said, I want to commend you for even stepping into those arenas. A lot of us have ideas, and they just lie dormant. But, you know, nothing ever will happen unless you start taking those steps in those ways to start putting those ideas to put them in play. And so I'm glad to see that these things are manifesting in your life, and I hope it continues to impact those who you come before. Because, like I say, it's good that, you know, it's that not only the children, but also being able to talk to the teachers and other people that can be able to work together to be able to help everyone to win. And so that's always my thing that I want to make sure I leave others with, that through your story can help someone else to find their angle to be able to help them to be an impact to win. Because it's not just you having a good life, but how can you impact and help someone else along the way to fulfill life as well. Because I think that's true success. I heard it from John Maxwell say it's a difference between being successful and significant.
Yeah.
Success is when you receive. Significance is when you're able to help to give unto others. and that's a life of significance. That makes make our communities, make our world much better when you're able to take the eyes off of just us, but
Right.
able to impact the lives of others. So if you can, I want to just ask you if anyone wants to connect with you or find out more about what you have going on, how could they find out?
So right now, the only social media I'm on is Facebook. So you could reach out to me on there, or you can email me. My email is rbyers@thecolorfulseeds.org, or you can visit my website at thecolorfulseeds.org, and there's a link that you can click on. You can type the message, and I'll see it, and you can connect that way. So any of those ways will be, definitely would work.
Awesome, man. Well, I want you to be able to share something that you may even tell yourself, but you would like to leave the people with that will empower them, inspire them to be great.
Oh man, I have so many different things that I normally tell myself, but I would say that in what I do, there's always heavy. You know what I'm saying? There's a great responsibility. Like I said, my wins have come from losses and experiences and suffering. But what I always tell myself and encourage myself with is that, my effectiveness lies in my suffering. And so I'm gonna be glad about it. I'm gonna boast about it. I'm gonna be excited about it and understanding that this is what gives me my effectiveness. And like what you said, that significance of being able to share, of being able to give something to somebody else, because ultimately it's not about me. So I think when you can understand that and look at that as preparation, or look at it as something that's building you or helping you, then you can understand that that it's all gonna work for your good.
No doubt, man. Well, Rob, man, I appreciate the time and being able to share with everyone about just your story and just how it can also inspire someone else to take advantage of their opportunities as well. And so we thank y'all for taking the time to tap in with us. Hope you enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. But in the meantime, in between time, be great.